Okay, thanks for joining me, Karlina. It's so
Hello.
great to have you here. And I know that my members are going to get a lot out of this session.
I hope so.
Um, so to start, do you want to tell me a little bit more about like what you do and your
Yep.
personal health journey and kind of
Yep.
like how that's influenced your
Yeah.
decision to become a nutritionist and lifestyle coach?
Sure. Sure. Well, firstly, hello and hello to all your members. My name's Karlina. I'm from Altus Nutrition. I've just actually changed my whole name and just sort of restarted a new business. So I'm really focused now on women's health, in particular, women with children who, like, I know I've got 3 children myself. We are last on the list, and I really want to help motivate, inspire, give quality advice to women who, need to put their health first for a change and
Yeah.
start to feel good within themselves, and just get that confidence back up, get healthy habits in place and everything. So to answer your question, I have been a nutritionist I graduated 6 years ago, when my daughter actually just fell pregnant with my second daughter. And I didn't do anything at the time. I just kind of left it, and mum life hit. I
Yeah.
had my third daughter, COVID hit. And I decided to sort of look into what I wanted to do. And being a nutritionist, just a nutritionist, I really found that I wasn't really able to really work on women overall. So I went back to the books, studied lifestyle coaching,
Yeah.
finished that last year. That was such a good course. So it taught me things like meditation, mindfulness,
Yes.
alternative therapies, how exercise can benefit your health.
Yeah.
So I was a bit more well-rounded, and I've just
Hmm.
launched my new business. So Altus Nutrition is my new business. And
Congratulations.
yeah, it's so exciting. Like, I'm literally so excited to
Yeah.
be, out there helping people now. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
good.
so good. But yeah, background info. I used to be a real estate agent. I had my first daughter and I had really bad postnatal depression. It was really debilitating. I was very isolated. My husband works overseas. He's fly in, fly out. So I am alone a lot with my girls. He's been doing that for years. But at the time, with a new baby,
Yeah.
and I was living in a different place, really isolated. So I had a lot of issues with anxiety, and this was when I really sort of everything hit rock bottom. And to climb out of there, there was medication, there was counseling, there was moving states to be
Mm,
closer to family,
yeah.
but there was also me thinking, what do I want to do with my life?
Yeah.
And what I really became passionate about was, healing myself first through what I ate, through how I exercised, through how I thought. And I really sort of thought, you know what, this is what I want to do. Like, I don't want to go back to my previous job.
Yeah.
I want to do this. Like, this is
Yeah.
my passion. So
Yeah.
I studied nutrition, and from there, like, here I am now.
Yeah.
I still do work in real estate from time to time. I actually have a completely separate business. So I
Still
do.
got you.
Yeah, so they've still got me,
Still
but
in there.
this is
Yeah.
my passion. This is like my
Yes.
little side project that I do because I love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much for sharing. And I know that a lot of my members will relate to parts of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess I've got a few questions here prepared that I know
Yes.
a lot of the women will be wanting to know. So
Yep.
the first one is many people struggle with like motivation when they're making changes and trying to stick
Mhm.
with healthier habits. So what are some strategies that you suggest for maintaining motivation like over the long term once that, like
Yeah.
the new week, new me kind of wears off?
Yeah, Monday's rolled around. Hey, it's Monday now. Yeah, totally get it. Look, firstly, if you rely on motivation all of the time, it won't serve you very well. So,
Yeah.
there's going to be some days where you're super motivated, and there's going to be some days where you're motivation is zero. Depending on how you feel on the day, like I'm not one to say, you know, when your motivation is completely lacking because you're sick or you've been up all night with a child, or, you know, there's stress, there's external stress, you don't want to go out and, you know, push yourself exercising. You don't want to really sort of focus on your diet that day. You know, that's all going to add up, and it's all just going to overwhelm you. So you know, motivation can ebb and flow, but having sort of habits in place, they, you know, things like, you know, obviously your exercise, like going for a run, you know, if you know it makes you feel good, having that in place for weeks, but it sort of starts to become a habit, and you start to feel like you need to do it. It's like an addiction. So in terms of, you know, eating well as well, that can be the same. Literally just starting somewhere, changing one thing about your diet. So it could be like you wake up in the morning and instead of reaching for a coffee straight away, you get a big glass of water, a little bit of salt in there, and you drink that. You know, like that can be one healthy habit that you've taken up. And if you do that for a couple of weeks, it seriously becomes like something that you just can't go without.
So replaces the coffee.
You won't always be motivated. You won't always be, you know, the motivation won't always be there, but habits will form the more consistent you are with them. So
I like that is exactly what I talk to women about too, like with running, that
there's some
like
days
you're
when
not
my motivation is so low, but
and that's when you have to kind
what makes
of
me feel good.
That's right. And draw on that why. And I ask myself, how am I going to feel if I don't go for this run? And if the answer is like fine, then I know that I need to rest. And if I'm like, nah, I'm going to regret this, well, then it's like, okay, well, come on, just get out the door and do it. So
yeah, that's right. And the same thing can be said about, you know, looking at your diet and say, you know, you want to drive through the Macca's drive-through or something, and you just think, well, how am I going to feel after I eat this? Like, you know, it's things like that with your diet as well. You really have to think, well, what does my body really need? And if it is Macca's sometimes,
that's right. Sometimes
like,
it is.
You know, sometimes it is, but you know, you really sort of have these habits in place where you really work on nourishing yourself 80% of the time, you know, like when you're down in the depths, you know what you need to do to get back up.
So I know, and this is on your website too, that you're a bit of a fiend for butter.
Oh yeah, what do you want to know about butter?
So I love like full fat. Butter. I feel like that is such a it's like such a journey when you're recovering from an eating disorder and stuff, like then discovering and allowing like full fat stuff, and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So do you have any tips for women to incorporate healthy fats into our diets, like without overdoing it? Because I know that, you know, it's it feels tricky and confusing.
So tricky. And you know what? In this day and age, it's very old school. So eating fat is actually it's around a lot now, but if you were to go back 10 years ago, it was a no-go. Like everything was low fat.
Low fat,
low fat, everything. But now it's starting to become more mainstream. So, you know, if you look at healthy fats, so there are fats that are not going to do you much good, like, you know, trans fats, so deep fried foods, you know, just things that are heavily processed. But then there's good fats, things with omega-3s. You've got things that are going to help boost your brain health, boost your heart health. So avocados, olive oil, nuts, seeds, eggs, things like that. You know, do you remember the times when we were told not to eat more than 2 eggs a week? Now, I mean, they're saying eat eggs, eat as much eggs as you want. Like, it's so confusing. Literally, like, if you don't study it and know, like, I have to do a lot of study, a lot of upkeeping study, you know, because things change all the time. And now, instead of that 10 years ago, we're like, no, you need to eat heaps of eggs. Eggs
that is good. It's
so,
not the enemy.
If you're counting calories though, and you put in, you know, like a tablespoon of almond butter, it's going to really soar. So to counter that, and there's a lot of nutritionists out there who you know, specialize in weight loss, who may put a client on a calorie deficit diet, don't know where your members are at with that, whether some of them do follow that, but incorporating healthy fats, first of all, like, as long as they're good fats, it's not going to do you any harm. You know, you're not going to put on weight by incorporating those good fats into your diet.
Yeah.
And they're so important to do. You know, they're so important to have. But yeah, you just got to make sure as well, you know, a lot of your members are runners, women especially need these fats, but you need to make sure that you're having them at the right day as well, at the right time of the day, sorry, as well. So, you know, if you're going to go for a run, eat your fats after your run. That will help the inflammation come down, and don't eat it before you run.
Yes.
You don't want to be digesting fats while you're going for a jog, because they're very slow to move through the body. And
that ties in perfectly to my next question, because I'm a big advocate for women eating before they run, like in the morning.
Yes. Because you do a lot of early morning runs, don't you?
Yeah. And it's just, I have taught myself over the years to eat before I run, and I just noticed that it's just my recovery is better, the running is easier. So, and a lot of other women run in the morning because maybe it's the only time that they get. What are some brekkie ideas that you have that'll provide enough energy for a run but won't weigh them down? So obviously avoiding those healthy fats.
Yeah, so try and eat your fats after your run. That's going to help reduce your inflammation. It's going to provide your body with some slow nutrition. But before you run, this is where you want to get in your simple carbohydrates. So if you're going for an early morning run, grabbing a banana, a piece of toast, you know, just something that is going to be low in fiber.
Yes.
It's going to be quick to digest. Quick sugars for your body as well. Things like that will help to fuel you. And it's so important as women that you don't get up and head straight out the door without, you know, and go for it like a 5-kilometer run without eating. That is so important.
Yes.
Your hormones, you know, you've just gone all night without eating. Your hormone levels, when we wake up as women, our cortisol levels, especially mums, they are the highest they will be throughout the day, first thing in the morning when you wake up, because that's what takes your body from the sleep cycle to awake.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that if you're going to go and push your body further on a run, you're giving it some fuel. You know, you're bringing those cortisol levels down. So simple carbohydrates all the way for a run. And then post run, that's when you look at your protein for muscle recovery, your healthy fats to reduce any inflammation.
So good, and very much on like what I
make sure you eat
telling my runners, so that's good.
I actually went to the gym with a friend the other day, and she hadn't eaten. It was 10:30 and she was like shaking. I'm like, seriously, how do you do that? Like, just grab a banana.
And that's, I think you actually don't need to prepare anything. Like a banana is like more than
a banana's
enough.
Perfect. Even like some dried apricots or something, just something with simple sugars. I
guess so post run, talking about like proteins and fats, how can, like, I know personally I have only kind of just started really taking like my protein intake seriously. I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's, you know, so how can we kind of get more protein? Like, what are some foods, I guess, that are like easy, that have a good protein content that,
So, you know, anything that's really high in protein is going to come from animals. But if you have any vegetarians in the program, like you, Brooke, hey, eggs.
This is a very
I'm
question.
sure you eat so many eggs. Just basically anything from animals, including eggs, you know, dairy products, they're all high in protein. They're also high in vitamin B as well. So making sure, like post-workout, you can do things like even a protein smoothie where you can use protein powder. You know, I recommend protein powders to my clients when I know that they're busy and they're in a rush, you don't have time to fry an egg and stuff like that. A bit of protein and some water and just drink that. But otherwise, I prefer people got it from their diet. But eggs are perfect. Eggs are, they're a perfect post-workout source. They've got every amino acid. And they would really help with muscle recovery. If you can have that with a bit of avocado on some toast, that is a perfect post-workout breakfast.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Even like some porridge, with a bit of nut butter and some protein powder mixed through that. That's a really good one too.
Nice, cool. I'm gonna try the porridge with
Oh, I got lots of porridge recipes.
Yes,
porridge is
on your Instagram.
I go through my ebbs and flows, but at the moment, like coming into winter, porridge is definitely something I'm loving.
Yeah. It's so good. I know, I already kind of know the answer to this because I obviously follow you on Instagram.
Okay.
But some women won't, but hopefully they do after this. But I know that you talk about this. So and for runners too, I think we often experience late night kind of hunger, after dinner, maybe if our training load is high. What are your suggestions for a light yet satisfying late night snack?
A snack. A pre-bed snack I do nearly every night.
I know I know this is your thing.
So it used to be said that you shouldn't eat after 7 p.m. That's another thing that you can just blow out the window. If you're hungry, even if it's you wake up in the middle of the night and you're hungry, you eat. Your body's telling you that you need food, especially if you're training more. You've incorporated more exercise. So at night, you want to go for things that are going to boost your hormone levels to get to sleep. So tryptophan, or tryptophan, sorry, I never say it right. Tryptophan is one that we need in order to get into a deep restorative sleep. So you can get that from things like Greek yogurt, nuts, seeds, grainy bread as well. Bananas are really good.
You
don't want to have a big giant meal before bed because then your body is busy digesting food and it won't go into a deep sleep. Something light like some Greek yogurt with some berries and nut butter on top is perfect. A piece of toast with some peanut butter on top as well. That's a good one. Don't go to bed hungry. That will lead to you waking up frequently through the night. You want to make sure that if you're hungry, you eat before bed. That way, your blood sugar levels don't dip and you get that sort of level blood sugar level throughout the night and you can get a good night's sleep. So definitely eat before bed. You need some water.
I do. I just muted myself, but I'm gonna grab some.
I'm a big fan for eating before bed because I get a really good night's sleep when I don't go to bed and I'm hungry. I know my blood sugar levels are much better for having a small snack before bed. And I've put so many women onto that who are like, oh my God, I had the best sleep because I had something to eat before I went to bed.
I feel like it is definitely ingrained. It must be a hard habit to break. And I know I feel guilty of this too. It's oh, well, I've had dinner. It's almost I shouldn't have something else. But if you're hungry,
this is where intuitive eating comes in. If you're not hungry and it is like a habit and it's ingrained in you to eat something before bed, then maybe think, oh, do I really need it? But if you're really hungry and your body is saying, oh, I really want some food, and they're not cravings, they're not for chocolate or ice cream or anything, you just need something to go to bed. Get something that's going to boost your hormone levels up and help you get a good night's sleep. So important. Keep your blood sugar levels stable throughout the night. Don't let them dip and then you wake up at 1 o'clock and you're like, oh, I can't get to sleep, I'm so hungry. That's what will happen if you don't eat before you go to bed and you're hungry. So,
that's very good advice. And finally, I guess what's some simple actionable steps that my members can kind of take away to implement? I think definitely nutrition. I know you also focus on movement and mindset too, but that they can implement to, I don't know, just maybe let's say healthy snacking or something like that, some snacking ideas.
Yeah, just picking healthier choices. Well, I'm a huge fan of meal prepping. I
Yes.
write out my grocery list each week. I plan all of my meals just on the notes on my phone each week. I know
And
exactly what I'm going to
you
have. I know
have
what snacks I've got.
you have a meal prepping service now too, don't you? Like in
I do,
terms of you can
yeah. So I
yeah.
can actually, I've worked with a few women who I have specific health conditions, and I can actually, so diabetes was one that I recently did, and I can put them on a consistent carbohydrate diet, things like that.
Yeah.
I've got loads of recipes. I've got over 4,000 recipes, and they're absolutely delicious. I'm a massive foodie. I don't put any of my clients on diet food. You will not get that with me. So yeah, I do. I have a meal planning service that I can, do a month's worth of your meal and menu planning, so you don't have to think about that. That's one less thing you have to think about.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so good. But yeah, just seriously set aside an hour or two on a Sunday to do your shopping, to cut up your veggies, put them in the fridge, to plan out all your meals for the week, prep them ahead of time, because the more you're kind of organized in the kitchen, the less likely it's going to be that you're going to reach for something that won't serve you health-wise. So just having food in your pantry that is going to nourish your body is really important. So that's why I'm such a huge fan of meal prepping. Do it every week, do it every Sunday. I don't do it every Sunday. Like, sometimes we're out, sometimes we're socializing, sometimes the kids have something on or whatever, but you can get in the habit of doing it. Even like if you're making a dinner one night of the week and the oven's on, hey, like make some granola as well and chuck that in. So, you're getting two things for, in the oven at once. Or, like making some bliss balls. Well, at the same time, you could make some healthy muesli or something, like just do two things at the one time, and then you get double the amount, and there's more food there that's going to serve you best in your pantry. So and also like when you're going shopping, like incorporate those foods that you love. A little bit of chocolate at night, perfect. But having a whole cupboard full of processed food, well, that's what you're going to reach for.
Yeah,
if
that's
what's
exactly
covered.
right.
So there's so many beautiful snacks. I've got so many on my Instagram page. That your
what is your Instagram
members
handle for everyone? And I'll put it in
so it's Altus Nutrition. So it's ALTUS and then _nutrition. My name's Karlina. So yeah, you'll see me there. So many. I always do stories I love, like, I'll find a new snack and I'll be like, oh, everyone will love that. So I'll chuck that up on my stories, and then I usually save them. So many good ones there that are going to like really boost your
I feel
energy.
like, there'll be lots
be really good for you.
Ideas for my members to go on there and stalk you and get some ideas.
And like if you've got a huge sugar addiction as well, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to form these new habits too, and the neural pathways in your brain to kind of go, well, I can stop craving that now, because this is where your healthy fats come in, ladies. Like, you include lots of healthy fats, because that's what's going to curb your sugar cravings as well. So
cool. Thank you for your time. I'll pop in where I share, like on the member portal, your Instagram and your website as well. But thanks for your time today.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you. And thanks, ladies. Thanks for listening.